Traditional sweet recipes from Malta, available online at www.traditionalmaltisweets.com. Traditional sweet recipes, creating a small slice of Malta that feels like home.
Welcome back to Maltese Down Under. This is a special edition of Maltese Down Under, as this is our last episode on Channel 31, and we're talking about how the show came about, about our friendship, how the idea about the show came about, and now we're up to how we got our talent, our guests. I went back into, let's call it my black book of contacts that I have made throughout the 15 years on SBS Radio, and thought there was enough content there, enough people there who are really interesting, you name it, musicians, artists, sports people, you name it, something outside the box. So that's how we got our contacts, and also looking up other Maltese artists and all that who we didn't really know about.
And it's been extraordinary to just find these people. There are like so many people that are just working in the arts and in sport, in culture, in different parts of Australian life that we did not know about previously. And that's this next generation of really exciting young people coming through. And that was one of the things that, for Marlene and I, we just really felt we wanted to harness this great opportunity to sort of show what's happening here today. And I think that the great thing with you having a black book was that it gave us a launching pad to start the program.
And being open to new as well. Yeah.
And, one of the key things for us was, we really worked hard to try and do things that other people haven't done with the Maltese community, because, there's a reputation for things not being that exciting, and we just wanted to go, there's all these people around us doing some pretty exciting things. So, when we got to that point where we contacted Channel 31 and we so I thought, okay, let's get on this adventure, and it very much was an adventure, I can tell you. Here we were.
Mark's was an adventure for
my
sure,
God, yes.
Because, so let's go back to Channel 31. We contacted Channel 31 and they were very interested in what we were suggesting, and they told us to submit a pilot. So we already had the Maltese cook-off that had already been filmed. We had the AMCC, Australian Maltese Chamber of Commerce, who were having an event. So we thought, okay, we'd film them. And there was also this exciting new team, the Team Malta, or the Malta Crusaders, who are actually going to take part for the first time in the Harmony Cup. So we thought this would look great for a pilot, and that's what we did. So we started filming.
Yep.
I had in mind another Maltese guy who was bilingual as myself, English and Maltese. His name is Etienne, and I offered to him to be a presenter with me on that show. And Mark was going to be behind the camera.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we actually filmed the pilot, and we filmed the introduction for the first show. And Etienne was in that pilot, and I thank him for his time. And advice as well. And then Etienne couldn't, unfortunately, carry on with presenting the show, and that's where I went to Mark. So Mark, how do you feel about being in front of a camera?
And I just felt this massive hole open up, and I dropped in. And somehow I've ended up in front of the camera, which has been a growth spurt with a lot of pain. But it's been actually really, really enjoyable. I've loved actually meeting a lot of these extraordinary people, and I've learnt all these new skills I just didn't realise I had. We always have to remember that what we're trying to do is storytell.
That's right.
And I think the funny thing with building the show has been the storytelling that we are doing. And some of them have been extraordinary stories, and some of them have been just really intimate, small stories about people's lives. And that's been
touch you,
the great
Very
thing.
touching.
And the number of times where you've filmed a story and thought, wow, I'm so lucky to have met this person. So without that sort of series of events happening, I wouldn't be here today. And it's been very proud of what we've been achieving so far.
And then obviously we needed editors. So we approached one of our friends, who was actually one of our media sponsors, Daniel Kalesia, and asked him to suggest an editor. And he actually suggested Fulia Kantarmachi, who is not even Maltese. So one of our editors isn't even Maltese. So that made it for some interesting editing, especially in Maltese interviews.
So, hi, my name's Tina.
Hi, I'm Fulia.
And we're the editors for the Maltese Down Under. My background is actually Vietnamese, and I actually got roped into it by Marlene. I guess I kind of was involved in the Maltese culture a bit, in the fact that I did work for someone who's half Maltese, Daniel Kaleja, and Foyer here was one of our interns, and so I guess between the both of us, we kind of learned to edit this show together and try to find a nice process that worked for us. And so one of the process was essentially Marlene sent us an edited version cut down for us, and then
and then we just went from there. I initially started off the editing for the first season. I did the whole of the first season, and the pilot episode was an experience because we were under time restrictions, and as soon as we found out that the show was actually going to air, we really had to push the editing process.
It's one of the most difficult things, I guess, for me was the fact that I don't speak Maltese, and so we did had segments where they were Maltese and where I didn't know what to do. And I guess for your experience, I guess as well, we had things called markers to kind of know how to get things around. And there was moments where I don't know what to do, so I ended up having to contact Marlene, especially when she was in the US. It's like, Marlene, what's the time difference? What's this? What's that? And I guess we started to learn a bit of Maltese in a way.
Some of the words that I kept hearing throughout those segments sounded very familiar to me, because in Turkish some of those words are pretty much almost the same. I also have a background of Arabic as well, so Arabic and Turkish sort of molded together, and I also learned Italian back when I was in high school, so all that meshed together, and I was like, oh yeah, I understand a lot of this. Sometimes I actually knew what was going on, which kind of helped.
Before we knew it, we found ourselves approaching sponsors. We really had no idea where the show was going and if Channel 31 would actually bring it on board.
Accept the show, that's right.
So we're there madly trying to find sponsors to just really gauge whether the whole thing was viable. And
that was very hard, because how are you going to approach sponsors about a new show when you've got nothing to show them? Yeah. And we are very, very grateful to the first sponsors in season 1, because without them we wouldn't have been able to make it, especially Joe Borg from First National, who was so supportive. Absolutely. Right from the start. Yeah.
And people don't realise that, we don't do this for any financial gain. So the amazing thing with this show is the goodwill that's come with it from all of our sponsors and all the people behind the scenes that have helped us. And we just can't do it without that sort of
Definitely not.
happening.
So we thought we had to rope in a couple more people to help us film the show. And I roped in my son Terence and my husband Noel, who we thank very much from here for their help. And then we needed to get the word out that the show is going to air. And we set up a Facebook page, and in a matter of a few days, we had around 2,000 likes, people asking about the show. And the feedback from the Facebook page has been simply amazing, hasn't it?
Absolutely extraordinary. Like when you start receiving messages from associations in New Zealand, in Queensland, in
around
Sydney,
Australia,
just asking for more information on the program and
to come and film.
Yeah, it's just and you think to yourself, how on earth do people know about this? It's only on local TV in Melbourne. So the power of social media and our audience has been wonderful, and that's inspired us to really produce the program we've got with all the content that we've got.
With the quality that really just got better and better thanks to our editors as well. And actually in the third and final segment of this special show, we will be talking about some memorable features that we had during the 3 seasons of Maltese Down Under.